And we are supposedly live. Hello, everybody.
I'm going to refresh this page and see if we actually are. We are.
Oh my goodness. Can everybody hear us? Everybody?
If
You can.
so, say what's up.
What's going on, everybody?
All right. You know what I'm going to do since we're just getting started and
Yeah.
people have probably had busy days since the last time I reminded them to tune in. Also, Eileen, I don't know if you saw this morning, but when I posted on X, like, hey, later today, 2 p.m. Pacific,
Yeah.
we're doing this thing. Eileen and I are, and here's the link, the YouTube link, which I misspelled because
Oh,
that's how my Monday went, and then the link to our website, which does pull from Acast, included a picture of a red apple. And I'm like, that's not even part of our brand
yeah, because
identity. I
we
just don't know where
changed
that came from. So
because we
I just
the
posted
logo.
it. I just posted it and I was like, well, I guess I'll just send a follow up. And somebody wrote back and was like, oh, that's some outdated thing. I changed it. And then
Oh,
it
okay.
seemed to go away. I don't know. It was mayhem. It was a Monday. It was a
It's a
Monday.
Monday. Is that a sign? Should we just have a little apple, like a real one, at like in the corner here? Take a
Just a
bite.
little,
It's
yeah.
like we literally take a bite before the show begins every single time.
Listen, I love
Anyway, yeah.
apples. I'm happy to. I don't know if I would eat an apple a day for realsies.
Oh.
That's 7 apples a week minimum.
Mm-hmm.
But once I start eating an apple, I always finish it. I never
Yeah.
am like, oh, I don't like this. I love it. I love
Yeah.
the apple.
It's not like other fruits. I feel like really tart fruits, like I don't always eat oranges. Like
Ah,
it's not a
uh-huh.
thing for me, you
I
know?
sometimes
I
don't
mean,
because they can be a little messy just depending on what
mhm,
else I'm doing. Like I don't want
mhm.
to eat an orange over my desk, for
Yeah.
example. There's
Yeah.
there's going to be a
Yeah.
drip, it's going to get sticky. Yeah.
Also apricots, I'm not a fan.
No way ever?
No, I'm not a fan.
Not a fan. What if they're dried?
I mean, it's okay. Like I don't like
But like
anything
you
stir
just
fried.
wouldn't be like, a handful of dried apricots, yum.
Yeah, no. I mean, if I was on a deserted island and that was all I had to eat, that's fine. It's not like I'm totally averse, but it's just not my
Yeah.
fruit of choice. I don't actually I need to eat more fruit, Sarah.
You
This
know,
is not
I do too.
you
And that's
know?
weird because I do not dislike fruit and I have no issue with, the fruit, the sugar that is in fruit. Because I'm like,
Mm,
if I'm gonna get a certain amount of sugar, it might as well be in real food
yeah.
rather than, ice cream or candy or something.
Right, right.
All right. So I'm posting to X.
All
And,
right.
and I'm going to post to a few friends who I told I was doing this.
Ooh, exciting.
I know, that we were doing this. Um, and and then I think we'll get officially going here. Now, what I want to do is because we're in StreamYard, I
Mm-hmm.
want to manage stuff I'm seeing on YouTube.
Sounds
So I
good.
so I think what I should do is load that page and then mute it. Because otherwise we get a little tiny couple second delay.
Yeah. Yeah. So should I stop everyone, I'm learning StreamYard, just so you know. So this is all new to me. Last thing I ever switched was a TriCaster a long time ago. So this is foreign territory. So just please understand there might be some mistakes. Also, this is our workshop.
Yeah.
Let's just this is
Yeah,
our
so
workshop,
yeah, maybe we
not
start
episode
let's
one.
start at the
Yeah.
beginning.
Yeah, let's do it. Now that we're done talking about fruit.
Yes, for everybody who has joined us, do spread the word. We are doing a fun little fun live stream to more or less workshop our new show. Our new show is a real thing. It's happening. It's happening as we speak. What we still would love to just kind of kick around and definitely get input from y'all on is what the show should be. An Apple show is, there are lots of Apple shows. And we love those shows. Some of those shows are my favorite shows. This is not designed to replicate any of those shows specifically, but to really kind of give a perspective that Eileen and I think that we certainly hope we have, on using Apple products as regular folks. We're definitely technically inclined more than the average person. But if you're listening or watching, chances are you are as well. And so, it's a kind of a mixture of news and tips and kind of, fun anecdotal information and definitely lifestyle tricks. Eileen, I know you're pretty pumped about that. So Did I explain this well?
I think you sure did. I mean, the focus on lifestyle, how Apple fits in our everyday lives. I mean, honestly, that's what we're going to be talking about, and how to differentiate ourselves. I know there was some people in our promo comments that were like, well, how are you going to make it different from DTNS? I'm like, well, we may have some of the same news, but it's kind of like, and we'll see how this goes along. We thought at the beginning, we're going to talk about one big item, whatever it may be, the launch of the Apple Vision Pro, for instance, and spend most of our time there and then end it. It's not going to be, we're also going to talk about, another software update or anything like that. We're really kind of trying to focus on a particular Apple moment and discuss how that affects us in our lives, because quite frankly, so many people have Apple products. How you use them, Sarah, is different from how I use them, is different how others, out there use them. There's more light users, there's hardcore users, there's everything in between. Like some people only have a phone, some people only have an iPad, some people, I don't know, maybe there is somebody who's just going to be like, I only have the Apple Vision Pro. What? Okay.
I know. I'm sure there are quite a few of you out there being like, yeah, that's me. Maybe you're a developer. Maybe you're just, I don't know, haven't been moved by other Apple products, or you just have stuff that works well enough for you. I think that's another big part of the show is, there are people who you could use the term, or maybe the term is used by others as elitist, about, the ecosystem, the platform that you choose. And as much as this is an Apple-focused show, so that's what we'll be focusing on, we're not going to pretend that there aren't really cool other tech alternatives out in the world. Sometimes we'll compare them. Sometimes we'll try to get somebody on who's an expert, I don't know, in the state of Android. We happen to know quite a few people who are really good at talking about Android. And, that kind of stuff. It's like, to be as inclusive as possible while still having a focus is kind of our overarching goal, at least to start out. Now, what we need and would very much love is a little more, just feedback from you. Do you have favorite Apple shows currently? Are there certain things that you think those shows do really well? Are there things we can expand on in those areas? Are there things you think are kind of missing from the options that you have right now? Because, of course, we're not trying to just give you more of what you already have. And as Eileen mentioned, Daily Tech News Show obviously covers a lot of Apple news. Anytime there's anything significant, we certainly try to cover it. But we cover news pretty broadly because we don't want to focus too much on any one thing, because we're trying to be as much tech as possible for as many people as possible. This is much more focused than that. So I think, although you might hear about topics that you've heard on DTNS here on Apple Vision, we will not only go into more depth probably on that kind of stuff, but have a different perspective. The pacing is going to be a little different, more focus on lifestyle. Eileen and I are trying to just get things done at the end of the day and have fun while doing it. So, yeah.
So we got a question in here. What from C-Spawn? What is the length of our show? Good question.
That
Sarah,
is a
what
good
do you
that
think?
is a good that is a good question. Okay, so we have when we decided, okay, let's do the show. Are you in? Eileen's like, I'm in. Are you in, Sarah? I said, I'm in. We're sort of like, okay, what are some just kind of basic questions just to get the ball rolling on our side?
Mhm.
And that was one of the questions is is it an hour?
Yeah.
Is it 30 minutes? Is it shorter than that? Is it longer? I don't know, Eileen. My initial gut was, let's call it an hour, because I feel
Yeah.
like if you've got a few topics and you don't want to feel rushed or constrained, an hour is a pretty solid baseline.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite podcasts are more like 90 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
but I save them because I don't like to start a podcast and then finish it later because I kind of forget where they were,
Yeah.
So it's like maybe if I'm going on a longer walk, or I know I'm going to be at the gym for a while, or maybe I'm going to be in my car, I'll do the longer show. But I think that's a great question for y'all. What is the sweet spot for a lot of you? People commute. I mean, not everybody has the same length of commute. I don't know, Eileen. What about your favorite podcast? Do you ever look at a TRT and go like, perfect, that's exactly what I wanted?
Yeah, I mean, I'm usually around the 45-minute to an hour.
Yep.
Because I know that they're going to talk enough about something and not just, give me a minute's worth of info on what particular topic, right? They're going to go deep. They're going to go at least 15 minutes here, 20 minutes here, which I like because I want to hear all perspectives, And when I'm thinking about, the show itself and the topics that we'll be covering, I mean, surely we're going to be timely on days that there's going to be releases, but there might be more evergreen topics that we talk about, whether it be like productivity. I know I was pitching you, Sarah, like I love using my iPad and for digital planning and calendaring and all that whole world that I discovered over the last like 3 or 4 months, which I'm really into. And that could be a topic. We've talked about, sure, there's going to be Apple Music news, but like we may go really into, like I was complaining about spatial music and oh, wow, today there happens to be some news about
some
spatial audio
incentives
music.
about spatial audio. Yeah, exactly. If you happen to miss that news, it's cool. Apple, at least if you were in the position to upload music to Apple Music, given higher royalties to artists for spatial audio, and it apparently doesn't. It's not dependent on like. Eileen, if you upload a spatial audio version of your latest album, I don't even necessarily have to listen to any of those tracks. But
Right.
just because you did it, you're incentivized monetarily, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now,
because
but spatial audio, you and I did have a fun conversation about that where you were like,
did.
sometimes I just don't like it. It just
I-
is not like helping my experience. And I agree with you, but sometimes I actually really do. I feel like I'm in a concert.
Oh, that's true. I think if the song is made for spatial audio, then it sounds good. But there's a lot of like, I sometimes like to listen to retro 80s disco. And when they force spatial audio to a song that was never made for it, it works most of the time. For me, it does not. And I can't hear the vocal. And I'm like, no, this is the part I really like the most. And mostly because I've spent so many years with that song, right? I wasn't
Right,
conditioned
right.
to hear it through spatial audio. And so I get annoyed with some of that. And maybe they'll fix it. I don't know if they can, but that's when I'm not a fan. But I have heard some tracks that make sense in spatial, but because they're doing it for spatial audio. That's what I think is the difference.
Yeah.
So,
There have been times where, I mentioned walking, which, I mean, I'm not like the craziest
yeah.
walker in the world, but I walk a lot because I've got a dog and, he needs to be walked. And I don't always listen to audio. In fact, at night, I prefer not to listen to anything because I just want to have my wits about me.
Yeah.
I want to know who's coming and going and sounds and this and that. But there have been times where I'm walking with him and, my dog Otis, God love him. He's just all over the place sometimes, and we're getting tangled in the leash
Yeah.
and I'm doing twirls. It's ballet-esque. And the spatial audio of whatever I'm listening to starts to go crazy because it's like, what's she doing? Where's she going? She's moving left. She's moving right. Where I'm like, it's chaos.
Well, I was going to ask you because, like, I haven't really listened to spatial audio when I'm walking, but like, I can imagine every once in a while it might freak me out. I might go, "Oh my gosh, where's that noise?" Or it's like coming from somewhere behind versus or whatever. It's just not mono.
Right.
But I don't know. Just curious the way if people really love spatial audio, and I don't hear a lot of people talking about it, but I just may not be running those same circles.
So when spatial audio was first introduced, was this 2022? I think it was.
Yeah.
Thereabouts. I didn't have AirPods. I was, for a while, kind of an AirPods hater. And Eileen, I have no good reason for that. I was just sort of like, I already had wireless earbuds. Jabra makes them very good earbuds. And, I was just sort of like, I don't know, AirPods like hang out of your ears and so many other earbuds don't. So just why would you have them? They're just annoyingly Apple. Well, I eventually lost my Jabras. I misplaced them. They're around here somewhere. I moved recently. So, they're in a box.
Yeah.
This is how it goes. And so I thought, they were going on 4 years old anyway. Let's get some AirPods. And AirPods Pro, the latest gen. And I immediately was like, spatial audio is so cool. And people were like, Sarah, I mean, you're like a tech person. Have you never listened to this before? I'm like, you could only have certain equipment in order to take advantage. Even if I was at my desktop and, plugged in type thing, I just didn't have the right, headphones. I think it's great. I think it's gimmicky sometimes, but it's sort of like, well, that's what they said about stereo audio back in the day. So
why do the same old, same old? Let's push the boundaries, right?
That's
Let's
right.
try something different. And maybe from this will be born like 5 years later, something that really, rocks, right? Like really knocks us off our feet. Anyway. All right. So Philip, you're great. Also happy with longer. We could go on and on and on. Let me tell you, our original promo that we recorded was 20 minutes and I cut it down, just to kind of get to the heart of it, which was what some of you may have already seen on YouTube.
Yeah. And even, I don't know, Eileen, I'm going to have to get used to, and this is not totally Apple Vision show specific, but just the real quick snippies. Because I'm just sort of used to going on for at least a few minutes at a time. Even the promo that I recorded, if anybody saw it with my cat, Ralphie, who's actually next to me, but he's being shy right now. I was like, it's like 60 seconds. It was like almost 3 minutes.
It was almost 3 minutes. Yeah.
Was it? I thought it was really quick.
Time goes by so fast when you're talking, right? So that just brings us back to, I feel like we're going to feel it out. I think, like you said, Sarah, I think these episodes are going to be more like an hour, but we'll feel it out, and if it goes longer or shorter, that's what it's going to be. I don't think we're going to hit like 10 stories. It's literally going to be like 1 or 2, but really kind of dig deep, right? We want to dig deep for everybody.
We do. Yeah. Let it breathe. And this is, again, it's like, sure, sometimes there's breaking news. Sometimes there's going to be a big event. And that will probably be the focus of that episode, or maybe in more of a capacity than it would be normally. But I think there are lots of, again, I don't know. When I say something like lifestyle tweak, I don't know exactly what that means to everybody. I think it means different things to different people. But for example, so I wear an Apple Watch. I wear it pretty much 24 hours a day. I sleep with it because I like to track my sleep. But, it means I got to take it off and charge it for a couple hours in the morning, which I usually do when I'm just like sitting there drinking coffee, waking up. So it's great. I mean, it's kind of with me all the time. I originally got cell service along with the watch. And then after a couple of months, I was like, I'm just never really trying to leave my phone behind. So it didn't make sense, even though it was really only another $10 a month on my Verizon plan. It just didn't really make sense to me. Anyway, I love the watch. But I got a new iPhone last weekend, and it's awesome. Shout out to Lamar Wilson, who helped facilitate that. And because of that, I just did like a phone to phone a sync. It was so easy. Like it wasn't even iCloud backup, it was even easier than that. And, but just based on how things moved over, I started to get like these like rando notifications on my watch that I didn't have before. And it's just a notification thing, because they're coming from my phone that then I have now synced to my watch, whatever. And some of them I'm just like, I just have to like figure out how to turn that off at some point. Yeah. And some of them I'm like, I didn't used to get these. Interesting. Or, I'm getting alerts about the area of California I used to live in, which is just no longer relevant, at least for me to get, on my rest. Well, one of them is the Amazon's assistant, Alexa, won't say her name, which is like these push notifications for like some very bizarre calendar of birthdays of people that like I'm not close enough with to even say happy birthday casually. Like someone that like I maybe like went on one date with 20 years ago. Well, or like an old boss that like I'm not in touch with. Or just somebody like who's a friend of a friend of a friend, where it would be like somewhat odd if I was like, happy birthday.
Why would that automatically turn on for you? Like, why would that automatically?
Well, so I don't
go for you.
I don't really know, and maybe somebody out there does. But so when I moved recently, and when I did, even though my Wi-Fi, the name of my Wi-Fi address is the same, I have a different router, so I had to set up all my smart lights from scratch. Serial number, the pits. It actually has worked. So, I mean, I can't really be all that mad about it. But it was basically harder than just getting a bunch of new lights. I had to just reprogram and like factory reset and everything. I'm still not even done. But I think because of that, because I was in Amazon's Assistant app, rejiggering my, these are the lights that go in the living room and this is the bedroom light now and, this and that. I don't know. I woke it up somehow.
You did.
So now I'm getting these like bizarre, like Apple Watch, like so-and-so's birthday's today. Would you like to send them a gift? It's like, hell no.
Maybe you'll send them a little Facebook happy birthday if you're Facebook friends with them.
I wouldn't. And this is not to say that I don't care about these people, but you know the kind of acquaintance I'm talking about, where you're it would almost seem strange. Like I wanted something, to be like, happy birthday, person that I do not talk to.
They'd be like, why is Sarah contacting me? This is weird. Okay.
Well, so if anyone's just sort of like, well, I've been here, or, I'm having the same problem, I finally found, I think it was on Reddit. There was, because everything's, all solutions lead to, a Reddit thread of some kind. It was actually on amazonforum.com itself. I had to go into the settings for the app on my phone, go into settings, go into notifications, go into communications, and sure enough, there's a little lever, want birthday notifications on, and mine was yes. So I said no. And hopefully that will be the end of it. Now, this is somewhat specific of a case, but I hope someone out there learned something, because I sure did today.
But did it by chance remind you of someone that maybe you would want to reach out and say hello? Absolutely not.
I mean, I get. Listen,
let's see, their birthdays would be now, right? In January.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like, of the 10 to 12 people I talk to super regularly, anybody outside that bubble should never be, reached out to again. No, it was just too much. My watch, I feel like I want personal notifications like, am I nearing my step goal for the day? Because that's something I try to take pretty seriously. I don't always get there, but I try. And, and notification for, certain people who message me, that kind of thing, my personal calendar. Now, this was obviously a calendar But it was something that I don't even know where it's pulled from. I assume Facebook, because I don't know,
Yeah.
how else the integration would work. But it was just too much, where I'm kind of, I got, a handful of groceries, and I'm like, it's so-and-so's birthday. Oh my gosh, I have to stop. I have to stop this madness.
I was just romanticizing the scenario and thinking of some film where you were reminded, oh my goodness, this person I've never talked to. And then your friendship is blooming again because of Apple. You're
I
like,
mean,
no,
that
sadly, no.
I will say, I don't now, Eileen. Now, this is, and I'm not trying to make us be like, I don't know, too personal or anything, but there have been people who, and I'm not going to thank Apple really for this, a little bit of a stretch, but there have been people who have become really good friends of mine that I met through apps, variety of apps. Instagram DM, for example. And I'm not even talking about like romantic or, like I'm talking just like people who got a hold of me, or maybe I got a hold of them in some way that now are like important people in my life. So there's something to be said about, the serendipity of all of that. And, that just did not used to be a way that we could do that.
Right.
I mean, if somebody like, I don't know, what would they do? Send me a telegram? I mean, then they'd have to know my address. Then that's weird.
They
So,
might
yeah.
call you. Like, I never pick up phone calls. They might call you. Like, ooh, phone call? Are you that person, Sarah? I'm that person that when I see a phone call, if I don't see the name associated, I just literally, I freak out. I go, oh my God, why is this person calling me? One, I think it might be spam. Two, I don't like to pick up phone calls anyways. So I have a little bit of a, and then, okay, let me deal with it or not deal with it. Let it go to voicemail, depending on, who it is.
Yeah. I've got there are a few people who, and I want this to sound like as not mean as possible, but I have people who are just more phone talker friends than I am. I'm kind of with you. Like, for the most part, if I don't expect it, it's probably not going to work for me. But I have a few friends or like family members, like if my mom calls me, my first reaction is, are you okay?
Same with my dad.
And it's like, oh, you're okay? Okay, let's talk. We're good. Like, I want to hear from you. I want to talk to you. And I have a few friends, same thing. It's like, everything okay? Okay, cool. Well, I'm glad you called. Otherwise, I'm like, let me call you back later. If it's just an unknown number that I'm either not expecting or I consider it spam, or it even says now potential spam. With Verizon, I'm just like, not even going to do this. But yeah, I think the phone call relationship is a very interesting one, because I wouldn't even say that it's only the people that I love the most that I will pick up for. It's just like, oh, we have a good phone cadence, as long as I'm not like super busy or like holding a, I don't know, that hot pan over the stove type thing, But even then, I'll just switch to my earbuds, and then we're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm making a bigger deal than it really is. But there are the people that are like, please just text me, don't call me. Or it's easier to find me if you text me versus calling me, if that makes sense.
I mean, I do appreciate, as far as the etiquette goes, I definitely appreciate when someone's like, hey, are you in the middle of something right now? I was going to call, or something like that, because sometimes I'm like, ooh, give me 2 hours. I am kind of in the middle of something, or no call, just a little ping, a little nudge.
Little nudge
is always appreciated. Over in our YouTube chat, thanks everybody for giving us your feelings on the length of a show. It sounds like an hour-ish. Sounds pretty good for some folks. Surf and Trucks wrote in, for the new show, I challenge you both to wear the Apple Vision Pro for the entire show. No other show does that, and you would be the first show to do it. Well, I'm going to have to break it to you that Eileen and I would have to share one single Pro. Because we just have the one to start, but we do have it, and it's coming on Friday, and we're pumped. And it's going to be Eileen's first VR headset, I think, right?
It is, yeah. I mean, I've tried the Meta one, but I haven't really used it like you have. You have more experience with it, and so I'm really anxious to hear, you know, how you receive this. And I'm curious, like, because you use it for working out, um, and I was thinking, oh, I'll use it to watch stuff. Well, there's no Netflix and YouTube, and guess what I watch the most?
I
Netflix and
know.
YouTube.
I know. It's we're getting into, and this is, as we're recording this, it's Monday, January 22nd. And the kind of the news over the weekend was all sort of about Apple Vision Pro pre-orders, which opened on Friday at 5 a.m. Pacific time. And we secured one and, delivered on time. Then shipping date slipped, which always indicates that demand is eclipsing supply, which is what anybody who has something that's in demand is used to as a company. Apple's not the only company to do that. But then they're, based on numbers that, folks have crunched who know how supply chain stuff goes. It's like, well, it seemed like it sold out of the initial run, but then those shipping dates didn't continue to slip, which would then indicate that the initial rush, there was quite a, strong demand, but is there enough demand going forward, or are we getting into this waiting period, which I suspect we're in, where it's like the developers and the people who are kind of like hardcore, we want to try this, which would be you and me, Eileen. It's a lot of other people being like, I want to wait till somebody tells me I can't live without this.
Right.
So,
Right.
and that may still happen, but it's like, it's that early niche product, do I need this type thing?
Yeah, and I mean it is pretty pricey. So those are the price of 2 Adele tickets. I know that. If you like going to concerts, um,
Which, yeah, I mean, I wouldn't
what's
say
more
no to
important
her.
to you?
Yeah. Gosh, are they really that expensive?
Well, because she's doing
Concerts used to
residency
be
in
like
Vegas.
$25.
I know.
Yeah.
It's because she's doing a residency in Vegas. They're like
Yeah.
literally like $700 a piece. Oh, what is this thumbs up here? Oh, I'm doing this again. You remember when we were doing? Let's see.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There we
I don't
go.
know why it works for you and it doesn't it's because you're using your phone as your input, your camera input.
No, I'm using
You're
my
not?
Mac, but I think you turned off a setting on your computer.
We were trying to figure this out before. I mean, I'm not using I have an external monitor. I'm using a Mac Mini, so my camera is not native Mac, although it is supported. It's an Opal C1
Oh,
for anybody who's interested. Yeah, I was like, why, why can't I do it? Only
why
Eileen can
can't you
do it.
hard?
You
You
know,
could do the
I don't
hard
know. Maybe
yesterday.
you're just the person who's just the,
Oh, there it is.
you're the emotion person.
I'm the emotional. Have you ever taken your MBTI test, Sarah? Do you know what that, Myers-Briggs kind of test online?
Okay, this is embarrassing, but some years ago, not even in the last 10 years, I started to see these, particularly on dating apps, when someone would be like, here's my thing, that should let you know a little bit more about me if you're so inclined to, kind of know the test. And so eventually I was like, ugh, so annoying, but maybe I should do it. Maybe I should just know. Like, even if that isn't what I'm like going forward with. And I couldn't get through it. I just always got busy and I was like, this is really long. So I still don't know what I am.
There's one that you could take. It's really short online.
Okay.
I am an ISFJ. So there's you get 4 letters, I or E to begin with, whether you're, what am I? Why can't I think of the word right now?
Introvert?
Introvert or extrovert. Yeah, you're introvert or extrovert. The 3rd letter is either an F or T, and I'm an F, so I'm I'm more feeling, and T is, thinker, more rational. I feel like Tom is yelling something in his office saying, it's this. It's right over there.
I love how it's like you are under one roof and yet you're like, he might be yelling something at me right now. I don't know, whatever.
I
He's
think he
four
is.
walls away.
I know. Anyway, not to deter our Apple conversation much more, but yeah, maybe that's what I am to this show. Is I'm the let me give you hearts, Sarah, yay, and you're the rational thinker.
Oh gosh. Well,
Maybe.
that's a tall order. No, I get it. I get it. Well, here's the thing. So for anybody, just for those of you who are watching this live or might watch this later, first of all, thank you so much. What we really wanted this to be was, a workshop idea to just get some senses of what people want from the show. As we said a few minutes ago, you might be joining us a little bit later, so I'll repeat that.
Yeah.
But also, Eileen and I have worked together in various capacities for quite some time. We've never done a show like this together, but we've worked on, larger and smaller teams, and we certainly know each other just based on, mutual friends and marriage and the works. So this is something that, even though it's fun and new and different, at the same time, it feels very familiar to me. And I hope that's not too soupy and, mushy. But it's, it's like, yeah, like we didn't just sort of go like, I don't know, who wants to do an Apple show with me? I'll put a Craigslist ad out and see, where like,
I answered the Craigslist ad.
Yeah. Imagine I'm like, Eileen, it was you the whole time. Why didn't you just tell me you wanted to do it? No, that's we thought this would be really fun. So, here we are. And that said, we are we're bootstrapping this to the point where we asking you, how long do you think the show should be? What we may do, because we want to make sure that as we grow the show, we're doing stuff that is resonating, is what people ask for and receive well. And, even if you have criticism, I mean, that's all part of the deal, that we want all of that. And what we may, and we thought about doing is starting it a little lean, I guess, so to speak. Like our first show might not be an hour long because we just kind of want to, give you some like good info and see if there's more that you would have liked to see. There are ideas that you have for future shows. What I think Eileen and I, because we've been in production for so long, sometimes, a show is just is a slam dunk, right away. More often than not, there's a lot of reiterations that have to happen in order for the hosts, the production team, and most importantly, the audience, finally mesh with. And so that's why input, super important, really want to hear that. And also, not wanting to give you too much of like, here's the finished show. Do you like it? Because what if it needs some tweaks? We're only human. We want to make those tweaks, and we want to be transparent about making those tweaks so that you feel like we're all in this together, because we very much are.
Yeah. What are you guys curious about with that? We will definitely share all our curiosities with you. And, I don't know that this is like hard news show. Again, it's lifestyle. So we will be hitting beats, like if there is an Apple announcement and stuff like that. But, like I said, we're going to be investigating per se how the average consumer is enjoying and using Apple products. So let's see, the question here, once per week or what day? Good question.
That is a good question.
Famous.
Yeah. So we're both, I mean, I would like to say, when Eileen and I aren't doing the show, we're just sitting around eating various types of apples and just wondering how to fill up our days. That is not the case. Both very busy bees. So we are hoping, I don't know, are we talking about I guess so. Again, this is where everybody else could weigh in. We're hoping that Monday afternoon, which would be post DTNS, local time, would be when we would record the show. what we're thinking right now, and again, feedback appreciated and very important, is we will, if you want to be part of this live version of the show, it's video, it's a stream. Obviously, it's, we're doing a workshop right now, so we don't have a real agenda. The show itself would be a lot more structured, but that will be something that you can, be part of. And of course, as a live participant, you can be part of the show. You have a question, like some of the folks who are giving us feedback and questions right now live. That's awesome. If you want to listen after the fact, obviously that's totally doable. And then we'll add the video to YouTube once we're done. So you really have a few options, right? You can join the stream. You don't have to watch, but audio and video is a live component. You get a little bit of like a less polished version of the show. Maybe there's fewer screenshots of products that we might be talking about, that sort of thing, but you're here with us. After the fact, on demand, audio, video, both, at your disposal. Sorry, someone's car alarm is going insane right outside my house right now, in case you hear that. And so that's what we're thinking. If there are, other options that you didn't hear or would like to have, or you're into this, let us know. What we haven't done at this point is start a Patreon. We feel like if there is demand for that, we will absolutely consider that going forward. We know that for many folks, you're already contributing to so many creators' dreams. And we are, two more humble creators who have our dreams. So we're thinking this is the place to start. If getting a Patreon going is the right call down the road, then we're all ears. And we're kind of gonna let you steer this ship.
Yeah. Like, for instance, here's Mark. We got 2 questions about tips and tricks. Fairly recent convert to Mac OS. Any tips or tricks would be greatly appreciated. So there's one vote for tips
Mark.
or tricks. We've talked about that too, whether or not, where we would do that, how that would work in the show. And then tips are appreciated. One issue that I need to understand more are the integrations, i.e. watch to phone, phone to computer, especially as Apple provides more of an integrated UX across devices. So, not only if you're asking for that, we may learn about it. And I feel like the vision is we're all going to learn together. So even if we don't know something, maybe somebody will write in later and tell us, and we'll be like, great, let's do that on the show and let's show that off. And maybe we already know and we'll, answer your question right away. So I love this too. Like, this is it. Like, these are the like, why do you have a watch? Why do you have your phone or your iPad? How does it work together? Will it work together? Do you want to get an iPad now to work with your phone or a watch to work with your phone? I'm actually in that world too, because I'm not wearing my watch, because maybe it is the time for me to reveal to everyone. I have a Series 4 watch, and it dies rather quickly. And Tom says, maybe you just need to delete some apps and all this stuff, because it's syncing up to all my photos. It's just doing everything. And it's, connected to my phone. It has cellular service, blah, 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 all this stuff. But it's old. I didn't even realize I had a Series 4 until last year. I'm like, what version do I have? I am one of those like, oh, it does what I need, so I don't need to upgrade. And Sarah, when I told her, she was like, I think it's time for you to upgrade your watch if you're going to continue to use it. And those are the questions. That's the question I'm asking myself. Like, do I need a new watch, or am I was starting to live without it this past week, because it's really been annoying to just, have to put it back on the charger after 3 to 4 hours. And I'm thinking, do I?
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I had to do that more than once a day, and I use it pretty heavily, it's sending data back and forth, with my phone quite a bit. And that's even like when you're like, you record like an outdoor walk or something. It's like, that's just that much more,
love it.
Cycles. Mm-hmm. Yeah. To have to do that more than once a day. I know people who just, and this is actually a good conversation. I would love to revisit this when when we're, into the show, specifically, is the whole wearables thing. Because I don't mind wearing this overnight, but I had to like train myself to do it. I used to wear a Fitbit, the Versa 2, which I loved. I loved to the point, it was kind of like how I felt about the Jabra earbuds. I was like, I don't want an Apple product. I like this third-party product. It works for me. I don't want it. And, people are like, Apple Watch is like really good though. And I'm like, no, I have everything I need with my Fitbit. Yeah. And I was in the Fitbit universe and I was tracking all my calories and I was crazy. It was COVID. But then when I got the Apple Watch, I was like, yeah, I don't want to wear this at night. Oh, it's bothering me. I don't like it. And I just had to just give myself a week. And I also make it a little, it's actually it's on one ring tighter than it should be right now, which is probably why it's bothering me. But at night I make it a little bit looser, but it's tracking my heart. That's all it's really doing. And I love that. But I know people who are like, can't do it. And so I charge my watch at night. I go to bed, I charge it, on the nightstand or, wherever near me. And I wake up in the morning, I put it on and I never have to think about battery life. I have to think about it a little bit differently because it's working all night.
Yeah. I don't wear it either. And I've thought about it because I do want to at some point track my sleep schedule. I'd like to have a better sleep schedule than I have right now. I think I stay up way too late. And I don't think I get enough sleep. But I don't know if that's just because I've just always been a night person, but I'm desperately trying to be a morning person. I don't know if that will ever happen. I don't know. But I'm wondering if tracking will help me, Now,
when you say you're up late, I mean, what are we talking? I'm not trying to get too personal with your schedule, but are you up past 2 a.m.?
No.
Okay.
That's very rare, but 1 or 2. I'd like to start going to bed at midnight, so I can, have a good at least 7 hours of sleep, get up at 7 and, get the day going. But if I go to bed at 1 or 2, then I'm pushing 8, 8:30, and I'm it's getting late, and a lot of people are on their way, and by the time I'm clicking all cylinders, I remember last night, I think I sent you my message on Discord. I looked at the time. I'm I hope she's not on Discord right now. I don't think she is, but it was 11:30. I was
oh girl,
I had my epiphany,
I was not awake.
Yeah, good. I was
because I looked at it because I was oh, did I miss this? And I was oh, I wouldn't have seen this.
No, you wouldn't.
But it's fine.
My inspiration came at 11:30. I was oh,
which I think is great. I think especially when you've got either friends or people you're working with or both in various time zones, you just get used to this. I've got a couple of friends who live in I don't know, the part of Western Europe that's 9 hours ahead of me in Pacific time. I get just bizarre messages from them, usually in the middle of the night. They know I'm not going to answer until, they're halfway through their next day. It's fine. You get it. But
I forget how global we really are. We are very global, I know. I
love that. Me too. In fact, to go back to the Apple Watch, and I should really geek out on this with everybody at some point because I feel like I have a lot of good things I've set up with my Apple Watch, but then today I had my weird Amazon birthday thing where I was I'm going to freak out if I can't, shut this down. Haven't gotten one since, so I think it worked. But I will tell my watch, or I don't have to do it all the time, just the once. I set up my watch to say, at 10:30, remind me to go to bed. Oh. I don't always go to bed at 10:30 p.m., but if I'm still reading or on the internet or watching a show or one of all three, it's just a reminder, Sarah, let's start brush the teeth, wash the face. Let's
wrap it up.
Let's wrap it up. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And sometimes just my little watch gives me it's a lullaby reminder dee 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 dee, where I go, oh yeah, oh gosh, it is 10:30, huh? Where'd the time go? And then in the morning, because I always go for 8 hours, I rarely get 8 hours either. But I say like, okay, so if it's 10:30 to 6:30 is where like I want to like a little nudge. Like if I'm not up, like it's time to wake me up unless I have indicated that I didn't go to bed at 10:30. And so don't wake me up because I have now shifted those 8 hours,
Shifted the time. Yeah.
which you can do. Like there are all these
Yeah.
like fun parameters where it's like, it's really smart. Like it's like the least annoying little alarm nudge if you want it to be, which is cool.
I have the like, at 11:30 turn off all notifications. I'm in sleep mode at 11:30. So
Yeah.
I don't see any of my notifications or unless I'm on my phone and then I actively go to it. And that sometimes helps start the process, at least a reminder, because it'll say, oh, are you ready we're going to be doing this in 15 minutes. Like, okay. Well,
Right.
then I'm
Yeah.
until one
Yeah.
anyway. But it's still, I put it on there because I think at some point it might help me, but it does. Yeah. I love having those little moments there with your phone, your technology that kind of remind you like, start wrapping it. Let's go.
Start wrapping it. Or on the flip side, there have been, for example, this morning, it was raining crazy hard in LA. You would know this, Eileen, because we're in the same city. So hard. I mean, raining just buckets. And not even really overnight. It was more like early morning, between like 1 and 4, where I was kind of awake because I could just hear the rain like, wow, it is raining really hard. Kind of sounded cool. But, so I'm tossing and turning just a little bit because of the noise. Yeah. And eventually, it was 6 and I was like, I'll just get up. I'm awake. This is dumb.
Yeah.
Just make some coffee. It's fine. My watch was like, well, this is a little early for you. Are you wanting to start your day? And I was like, yes. It's like so perfect because I could have just been like, no, quick bathroom trip. Do not bother me. But I'm like, you're so smart. You knew.
It's considerate. It asked you the question, so considerate. Not like, well, we're going to start the day. And it's like, are you sure?
Yeah, like, you seem like you've been kind of awake for a while. And I'm like, so smart. I totally was. Yes, thank you. It's great. I still hit my sleep goal because I went to bed early. It was great.
Let's see here. What else do we have here in terms of comments?
Oh,
we could go a long time. Yeah.
We could go a long time. What we haven't talked about is guests.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah. So when Eileen and I decided, all right, let's do this show. Obviously, the two of us had no problem talking. It could just be the two of us. And I think sometimes that will just, depending on the material we have that week, that will be the case. But we're definitely interested in having guests on who are experts in arenas that we're not in, who are just plain old great people. I can think off the top of my head, lots of folks who would fit that bill, and I'm sure all of you can. Guest suggestions, highly appreciated.
Yes.
We know that, there are, quite a few people in our space, again, who talk about Apple. And some of those people are just like very obvious guests for the show. I think we're going to try to be not selective, but just like, let's have a guest when it makes perfect sense to talk about this thing. That works for our booking process. Because again, we're a lean, mean team of 2. And it also just keeps us away from a bit of a trap that I think sometimes shows get into where it's like, you have to have a guest, and does that guest really want to talk about what the hosts want to talk about type thing. So we're thinking on those terms. And I don't know, Eileen, if you wanted to add anything to that.
Yeah. I mean, I used to book shows. That was not
It's hard work.
That was not my favorite part of the job. My favorite part of the job was building the rundown, was, research. I almost put my mic here. Research and then, contributing to the show. But like the booking and the chasing people because you needed to put someone in the seat, that was I'm just being transparent. That is not fun. That is not fun at all. And people drop out. So I think we're trying to build this show where Sarah and I can be self-sufficient, but when it makes sense and whenever someone's really interested in coming on the show and has time, we're for it, So
Absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah, yes. Did you see?
Absolutely.
You didn't
What?
see my fireworks?
No. Oh.
Stop again.
Oh, I know why. Because I'm so just a little behind the curtain going on for everybody. Eileen and I are using a service called StreamYard to stream this to YouTube, and I'm looking at YouTube because I want to look at all of your comments. But our StreamYard is slightly ahead of YouTube.
Oh,
So it's like if I look at the YouTube video, I'm gonna get weird. Like Eileen's like, "Don't you see the fireworks?" And I'm like, "No." Oh, there it is. Yeah, they were. Yeah, 5 seconds later. Yeah. I should know better. Yeah. So that's what we're thinking for guests. So all right. So we've covered length of show, topics of show, more or less. We very much, I can't stress this enough. Really want to know what everybody's into. Little tips and tricks like the, Apple Watch stuff I talked about today. There are so many of those. And some of them are very specific, and some of them end up being like really helpful to a large swath of people. And that's awesome. Those both scenarios are awesome. Guests, absolutely want them. We want guests to be on the show who are just, passionate, have something great to say, have something, to teach, and for the rest of us to learn, and vice versa. And then, the cadence of the show, weekly. We're committed to that, and we think based on our current schedules that the live stream on Monday afternoons is the right way to go, which doesn't compete with anything else that either of us are doing. Could change in the future, there's all of that, but that's what we're doing, and we're hoping that the live option, a video on demand and an audio on demand, all of which you have, will keep us pretty covered for now. That's what we're hoping. Yeah. But more than anything, we just hope you like the show. So
yeah, like we're going to evolve. You won't see GDI down here on the screen. I will create a graphic for the show, and we'll have different lower thirds. I was like, Sarah, do we even just talk about graphics?
I was like, GDI? Oh yeah, there it is.
There it is. I need to upload. See, this is where we are with the show. We're still developing. This is not episode 1. And so there are things like this that help, at least for me, who's, kind of create the graphics and such, like, we need that. And you guys are seeing all of that. You're seeing, under the hood.
and this is really a testament to anybody, because I know a lot of you have followed my work, Eileen's work, and just sort of the tech folk, we've sort of, been going on this journey, with some deviations here and there since the Tech TV days. And many of you have known us since then. Many of you have come along for the ride along the way. But Daily Tech News Show, the team at Daily Tech News Show, this is a testament to how good they are at what they do, because I don't really know what Roger and Joe and Amos do behind the scenes. I do in theory, but now that Eileen's like, all right, I gotta do this, and I gotta do that, I'm like, and I just never really asked because somebody else was so good at it. I just kind of, I do my thing, and it all hopefully seems like a, super great harmonious product. But shout out to the people behind the scenes, because it's not hard. It's not hard. It's not easy. It's definitely hard.
Is this Chad?
I think it is. OMG Craft. It is Chad. Yeah.
You joined late, Chad. We talked about spatial audio a while ago, but I guess it's never too late to talk about spatial video.
Now, so somebody else asked about this. And
really?
the idea would be, I think you're sort of, being cheeky about 3D video using the Apple Vision Pro, I think. Unless there's something I'm not getting. But the idea would be, okay, if it's the future of Apple Vision, would we offer a 3D version of the show to watch on a Pro? Or I don't know, in some sort of 3D experience otherwise. I don't know how we would record that. I don't. I mean, not with my equipment right now. It could be done. I think we'd have to, probably bring in someone to be like, here's what you got to do, and this and that. Yeah. But I mean, I guess never say no. That could be very interesting. I don't know how compelling it would be.
Yeah.
But maybe I just don't understand the depths of our capability, Eileen.
Yeah. Well, also, how many people could experience it? What's the percentage of people out there that would be able to experience something like that? But I guess we could just, is it worth it to do that for a small percentage versus, I guess we'd offer both, but I mean, listen, if it was something that even 5 people cared about, but it wasn't hard to add to the process, then yeah, we would do it.
Yeah. I mean, there are things that are asked of podcasts all the time, like not even podcasts that I'm associated with, because you hear, if you listen to a podcast often enough, it's like, I know you've all been asking about this and that, but here's why we can't do it, or here's why we went in another direction. And, that's usually just time and resource thing, not because we don't want to be so cool.
Right.
So
maybe, down the line, if it becomes a thing that's really easy to do with, dare I say it, AI. We could just hit a button and it happens with the export of this video. Down.
Now, Mike Mills in our YouTube chat, Mike Mills, I see you, by the way. He's a buddy of mine. He's a Have Such a Good Day fan, which is another podcast that I produce. He said you can AirPlay from an Apple Vision Pro, so AirPlay to your Mac and then record that video. I guess that's true, but then, yeah, I guess that's true. And then would it just... It would be like optical versus digital zoom, where it would be digital versions of 3D. I don't know. See, we have things to learn here.
We'll try. These are great ideas. We'll try it. If it's easy, if it doesn't take hours. Let's see here. Anybody else? That early makes some views. Let's see. Anybody else?
Oh, you know what I did want to talk about, Eileen, just because we're all here. I know we're going to wrap up soon. We told everybody an hour, and and that's what we're going to do. But and I know that it's like slightly cheating to be like, well, if you can watch something that's a TV show or movie on an Apple device, it counts. But you know what?
Oh.
It counts.
It counts.
It totally counts, especially if it's an Apple TV Plus show. And the trailer for the sci-fi show Constellation just dropped.
Here it is.
Did you watch it?
I did watch it, and I felt like there was 2 plot twists.
It seems kind of scary.
Who's real? The child or her? I'm not quite sure who's real.
Yeah, something's going on here, and I mean, listen, it's just a trailer, so it's not like we have no spoilers to spoil here. But if you haven't watched it, the premise, the very, very overarching premise seems to be woman has been in space for a period of time. Something happens while she's up there. She gets back to Earth okay, but everything's different. And I gotta say, Eileen, Apple TV Plus has been, pretty much batting 400 for me. I love all the original series. I watch all of them, and I'm into this too.
Yeah, I haven't watched in a while, only because I've been in K-drama world. But everything that I've watched prior to not continuing, has been amazing. amazing on Apple TV. So, yeah, this is on the table, guys. If you guys want to talk about, we're not going to do cord killer style, but we're going to, we're going to touch on some things, especially when it makes a big splash, I'm not quite sure how we
Indeed.
do it differently than others, but why the hell not? We should.
Yeah, I mean, I think if, let's say we both watch Constellation and we both just like, oh, we really want to talk about this for like 10 minutes, kind of thing. And maybe there are spoilers because it's really hard to like passionately talk about anything without
Right.
spoiling something, that could go at the end of a particular episode where everybody knows ahead of time,
Right.
here's what we're going to talk about. If you don't want it, you come back next week or you just skip it altogether. We never want to like spoil anybody's fun. But
Right.
talking about content is a big part of, having an iPad, which I don't even have right now, which is bizarre. But
Ooh, yeah.
I have an old one. Because I've got the Pro Max. I've had the Pro Max for this is a 15, but I had the 13 until a couple of days ago. I feel like my phone is so big at this point that I'm like,
Yeah.
iPads are awesome, but like also a laptop is. And then
That's true.
It's all there already. It's not heavy. Just can have it on my lap. No worries. Although certain friends make fun of me. They're like, do you ever put the laptop down? And I'm like, why? Why would I? Unless I'm like walking in the rain, like why? It's fine.
I actually just reconnected with iPad over the summer. And like I said, I've been using it for digital planning. I thought I was going to be editing more on this, like video editing. Turns out I'm doing everything on my phone anyway, and then a little bit on my desktop. But I am finding different kinds of uses, in terms of creativity. Like I'm using it to, I'm using the notes feature. I'm thinking about more like drawing, and it's helping me. I use it when I take my Korean class and I'm actually writing on there instead of notepads, stuff like that. And I'm, just been kind of getting back into the iPad world again.
That's cool.
Ironically, even though, yeah, it's fun.
Well,
And I love
going back to the Vision Pro and Apple sort of touting like millions of apps will work, out of the gate. And people rightly pointing out like, well, a lot of those are just going to be iPad apps that you can use inside the Vision Pro. They're not actually like built from the ground up for Vision OS, which is that, the Vision Pro's operating system. This was the exact same thing that we went through when the iPad launched. And a lot of companies were just sort of like, oh, it's an iPhone app, but it works on your iPad. You just, do 2x and it's fine. And at the time when I was doing iPad Today on Twit with Leo Laporte, where Eileen worked as well, sometimes he'd be like, yeah, but it's only an iPhone app. And I'm like, but it's fun. Like there are certain apps that you want to be, natively built for an iPad, something that's, if it's a game or otherwise very visually forward. But like, if I'm like paying someone on Venmo, just give me the iPhone app. Like, I don't need it to like be like extra imagined, that kind of thing. And so I think that there's some Vision Pro stuff that I think we're going to get into some of those conversations again of people being like, well, but it's not really for Vision Pro, but does it work nicely? Does that make productivity better for, enough people where it becomes a thing? I think a lot of that stuff, it remains to be seen.
Yeah, no, I agree. We have to get our hands on it and,
I know.
really try it out. So that is coming.
It is. Speaking of when it's coming, so it was ordered on, let me pull up my calendar, on January 19th. That was 4 days ago, Friday, January 19th. And it is, barring any weird difficulty, because it is raining in LA after all, will be delivered on February 2nd, Friday, February 2nd. So a week from Friday, which happens to be Groundhog Day. So you know what? If we don't like the Vision Pro, we'll just go back into our den and you'll never hear from us again.
Well, I guess, we're kind of towards the end. We are going to shoot another next week. I think we're going to shoot a beta episode.
We are. Yes.
So kind of
yes.
just, work it out, see what a real show could be like, have actual topics and a rundown and stuff like that. And then the real episode would be the week after that, would be February 5th. Episode 1. How does everybody feel about that?
Oh, well, I mean, me. Good. 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 You got one fan. I wish I could do the hearts. We'll figure that out.
Should I give it to myself?
Before
give it to myself.
Shows. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's a heart from me. An air heart. Yeah.
All right. One last. This is a good one last unboxing. You better believe it. I love doing unboxing videos. I do it all the time for my K-pop stuff. So we're gonna do
also,
that.
Eileen, you can't just like casually be like, oh, for my K-pop stuff unboxing. It's like we're gonna have to figure out how things like that get incorporated into the show, because lifestyle after all. Okay, we're right. we gotta lift the veil, be ourselves.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're doing.
You're going to hear about it. You're going to get to know us even more. I'm new to a lot of you. I think you've heard about me tangentially through Tom, but or maybe you followed me in the past. So maybe there's a little bit of, I have to reintroduce myself to everybody, Sarah, because most of them know you.
I mean, sure, but a lot of them know you too. And, it's great. It's great. Yay. We're so excited about this. As we wrap up, thanks to all of you for jumping in and watching just kind of this sort of brain dump of ours. We knew today didn't have a real, format, and we hope, it was just sort of fun to be a part of this. Thanks to everybody who has already given us suggestions. If you have others, please don't hesitate to reach out. And Eileen and I are on all the socials. I'm at Sarah Lane on kind of everything. If I'm not at Sarah Lane, I'm at Sarah Lane Rocks. But you can find me. I'm not hard to find. And Eileen, what about you?
Yeah, I'm on Instagram and Twitter. Twitter, Eileen TV, or Insta. There you go, Eileen R. If you dare look at my TikTok, it's all K-pop stuff. I'm there too, Face of E. But you just reminded me, I need to make a show email. How basic we are not there yet. Like, this is how we are developing the show. I remember I asked you, like, oh, what should our show email be? And then we haven't done it yet.
Oh my gosh. Okay. Yes. So, let this be a lesson to all y'all. As much as, you may launch a show and have done it a million times, there'll be a weird DNS issue. We will forget to set up our show email. I mean, we could call it, feedback@applevisionshow.com. I don't know. I mean, do we want to choose that now? Do we want to think about it?
We will.
Eileen's like, let's think about it. We don't have to do this on the fly. I know. It's a lot.
But just so that they know, like, this is some of the stuff that we still have to get together. So thank you for your patience, and thanks for being interested.
Yes. Yeah. We want you to be as part of the show as possible in its infancy, for lack of a better term. I mean, that's really what it is. And so here we all are, and it's been super great to see people, with us in chat and popping in and off, and hopefully telling a friend. If this seems like yo jam, then do spread the word. Our subscription, smash that subscribe button. It's live. applevisionshow.com. That's audio, but there's a link to subscribe to the video feed there as well. And like I said, we plan to be streaming live when we do the show, when we actually stream live, so that those of you who can participate live can be as much of the show as possible. Asking questions and offering insight and how the whole cool live thing works.
I didn't know how many times I did this, but obviously I've done this like 3 or 4 times now during our our workshop. Can you see it now?
Yes, I can.
I'm always excited. Sarah, did you see it? Did you see it?
Yeah, well, I see it. No, I see it. I was on a slight delay. Oh, yeah. Just like New Year's Eve, slight delay.
Exactly. All right, I think we're going to sign off soon. Yes, this will be likely the normal time, starting around 2-ish, after DTNS. And then, the on-demand will hopefully be up same day, if not first thing on Tuesday morning. So
Indeed. And listen, we know we've thrown a lot of information at everybody about what we plan to do, what we want, to hear from you, questions that we still have to, figure out amongst ourselves, the timing of the show, all of that. We will do our absolute best to make sure you're the first to know. If anything gets set in stone, anything changes, again, we're all in this together. So this was really fun, Eileen. I was like a little bit nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I was a little
Same.
nervous. Just sort of like, does anyone care? But I feel like I feel good about it.
I do too. I think people do care. And, please enjoy our adventure, the ride. Come along. We'll give you tickets. We'll give you virtual tickets to be a part of the show. And hopefully you'll stay and not want to leave the park.
Correct.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm just
Think of
throwing
us
stuff
like Adele in Vegas. You wouldn't leave early.
You would
Why would
not
you leave early? You've paid so much.
Yeah. You want to see that
Except
encore.
not like that at all.
Not
we're
that
just,
spectacular.
again,
Someday.
We're workshopping it. Yeah.
Could you imagine a guest like her on the show? How do you use Apple products, Adele? Like,
I mean, if someone was like,
would
do you want Adele to be on your show? She's never once touched an iPhone. I'd be like, yes. And it will be a 4-hour show.
and we will talk to her about what would work for her life, and
Yes.
why.
That's cool. Hey man, I mean, reach for the stars. That, when we talk about having guests on, lots of guests going to be great, but if we can get Adele, we've really made it. So, let's make it
Now
happen.
this is our quest.
That
she
now
does-
we're going to speak it into existence. Yeah.
Yeah, we are manifesting it. She is in our area. She is in Southern California for most. I'm pretty sure she's living here now. So maybe we'll bump into her. I know she goes to Bristol Farms. This is how much I know. I'm not really a stalker. I just know these things a little bit. Dude,
Okay.
you're getting Adele. That's
Okay.
right. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to put this up here as a motivation. Motivation, everybody.
Oh gosh. All right, everybody.
right.
Thank you again for joining us. This was super fun. And again, I was about to say Daily Tech News Show. I am on too many shows. AppleVisionShow.com is where you can just kind of it's our home base for now. You can get all the links there, and again, spread the word if you can, if you're so inclined, and we'll see you next week.
All right, guys. See you guys next week. Bye.
Bye.